Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Friday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Had yourselves a great day, and I hope you all are having a great start to your weekend. Speaking of your weekend, it's going to be pretty active weather-wise, and that's why I want to come on here and get you guys a video out this evening because I'm expecting a pretty active weekend of weather as far as strong to severe storms, damaging winds, large hail, even a tornado risk. And I want to let you guys know right out the top that we are going to discuss Saturday through Monday in this video, but I want to let you guys know, and this is why we do morning videos, that the threat could increase for tomorrow. We could wake up to an enhanced risk. It could increase for Sunday. It could increase for Monday. It could increase every day for the foreseeable future. It's typically what happens as confidence increases. The Storm Prediction Center on later updates for that given day might increase and upgrade from what it may already be. So I just want to let you guys know that, full disclaimer on that, as things certainly do change often. But we're going to talk about what we do know right now, discuss in detail. Of course, the further out we get, the less detail that we have, but we're going to try to get as detailed as we can for you folks because I am expecting some pretty active weather this week. And if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I want to ask a favor for you folks. If you notice anything different with the mic, how I sound, please let me know. About once every 3 to 4 or 5 months, my girls come in here and they mess with my mic, and it is a pain trying to remember what settings it was at before. I really need to take a picture of it. If it sounds fine, let me know. If it sounds any different, let me know if it sounds worse or better. Last time they messed with it and I tweaked it, it sounded better, so they actually helped me out. But definitely let me know if it sounds any different. Really appreciate that. I think I got it back right. If you folks got anything that I can pray about, pray over them. As always, please put those in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it. It gives others an opportunity to do so too. Let's get rolling this evening. All right, what we got going on? Let's try to wake this thing up, see if she's working. She is, so we're good to go. We still got the ridge, high pressure down here that's dominating this pattern, keeping you guys very warm, very hot is what I really need to say. And you got flow around this high pressure. You got an area of storms that's flying through areas of Alabama and Mississippi. It looks like it's weakened in Mississippi. Then we got just typical summer pop-up activity here in Florida, but you got some more organized clusters of storms working its way into North Florida. We talked about that in this morning's video. And if you look right here, all the white popping up in the northeast, that is a ton of shower and storm activity, some that are severe. But we have an upper low spinning in this general location right here. Of course, it's not literally that huge. This is what is going to sort of drift eastward, okay, throughout the next few days. All right, so we're going to have this, basically this upper trough, this upper piece of energy just is going to fly through an associated surface low. As this does, we're going to have just rounds of strong to severe storms. And, you know, there's not just going to be one round. There might be multiple areas to watch each day. And I will tell you, this is going to be a complex setup, but we're going to try to figure this out as we always do. But we're going to see a lot of activity, okay, in this entire region over the next couple days right in here. Of course, the further you get eastward, the further out that the weather is. Like once we get into this portion right here, this is getting more so into Monday. So this is what's going on. This is where our worst weather will be. So low right here, upper low right here, this will continue to move its way eastward. We take a look at what's going on radar. I really want to watch this little area right here. This is what we call a mesoscale convective vortex. So you see this little purple area? That is a tornado warning right now, okay, in Missouri, in northern Missouri. This is well, I would say east of the Kansas City region, kind of just north of the Interstate 70 kind of corridor. And this is what we need to watch for. This will drift extremely slowly, relatively speaking, across northern Missouri. Eventually, this energy will make it into Illinois and Indiana. And this is what we watch for a tornado threat in this region for Saturday. Back here, we got a lot of storm activity already, you know, heading through areas of northeast Colorado, lone storm right here in the eastern sections, the plains of eastern Colorado, and we got some storms up here in Nebraska. This piece of this energy will continue to make its way eastward also. But tomorrow we will watch a more robust piece of energy probably get going into this region in the high plains and then work its way eastward, especially down here where we have to watch for a significant wind and hail threat into this region. But I'm telling you, this little area right here, we need to watch. I know it's not huge, but it's already got a tornado warning right here associated with it. So in general, we look at the pattern on what's going on. So the warmer colors you see on your screen, like the orange and the red, if you would call any of these colors red, I would say this is orange. That is your ridging of high pressure. The blue is troughing, or an upper trough, some kind of low pressure. So you see this little blue right here? This is our little upper low. You keep this going, and we get into Saturday. This continues to very slowly drift its way eastward. At this point, it starts to turn into a full-fledged upper trough, and we have an associated surface low probably somewhere here at the base of this trough right in here, and we're getting into Sunday at this point, and this continues just to move its way eastward all the way into the northeast. And basically everybody out ahead of this and just southeast of this is going to have storm development. So just because you see it right here for Saturday evening, that don't mean the storms are going to be right over this blue area. It's really everybody out ahead of this blue area. Just think of this as just an upper piece of energy that moves through. This helps bring the kinematics, flow aloft, shear, and then helps yank up low-level moisture up into this region. Okay, and basically we call something we call a triple point. It's basically where you're just the best overlapping of kinematics and thermodynamics meet. And I have a feeling that we'll have some kind of region like that sets up over the next few days with this severe weather threat. But this continues to fly all the way into the northeast. But really, we'll back it up right here. This is what we'll watch for tomorrow. But there's going to be energy right in here too, and right into here. So let's go on and talk about that, and we'll start off by talking about some ingredients. So we'll wake up Saturday morning, and you're thinking, Mitch, what are we looking at here? Well, this shades of blue and purple. This is what we call our mid to upper level jet. So think of this as flow aloft to provide lift in the atmosphere, shear to the atmosphere for lift for thunderstorm development. You see this belt of basically this mid-level flow that's setting up over the high plains right in here, all the way in to portions of the Ohio Valley. So you basically got the lift needed for storm development, especially just south of basically this upper troughing right into here. So you're definitely going to have storm development where you have that 30 to 40 knot mid-level jet, mid to upper level jet right into here. Okay, this belt of kinematics providing lift to the atmosphere. So what does that mean? Well, that means you got a gigantic slight risk which stretches all the way from Sioux Falls all the way down to portions of extreme northern Oklahoma, all the way back to eastern Colorado, all the way to almost pretty much all the way to Columbia, Missouri. I have a feeling, hear me out, I have a feeling we're probably going to get an enhanced risk somewhere in here, and we're probably going to get a marginal risk extended further into Indiana, and I would not be surprised one bit we wake up to somehow a slight risk into somewhere in Illinois and Indiana, and I'll talk about why here in a second. But as of now, you got the gigantic slight risk, tornado risk, two areas. One to watch out here in areas of Illinois, southern Indiana, and then southern and south northern, let me slow down, northern and northwest sections for Kentucky. You got a 2% risk of a tornado. And then this area right here, directly associated with the surface low, we are definitely going to have a tornado threat, even though it's small. But we'll watch to see if any one of these upgrades to a 5% risk. But right now, Omaha, up to Sioux Falls, Lincoln, Nebraska, all these places at 2% risk. The wind threat's the biggest threat. Okay, you got a 15% risk in this entire region of winds exceeding 50 knots or higher. Okay, that's 55 to 60 miles per hour. But in this little area right here, this black outline region, you have a 10% risk of significant winds. All right, which is 65 knots or higher. That's around 75 miles per hour or higher. Hurricane force winds or higher is possible with these storms. This could broaden out as we wake up tomorrow. Okay, this is as of right now, Friday evening, the latest information from the Storm Prediction Center. All right, this includes basically the entire southwest section of Kansas. All right, and then portions of the panhandle of Oklahoma, and then eastern and southeastern Colorado. Hail threat, same kind of deal. It likes the same area that has a significant wind threat. Not only do you have the 15% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger, you have that 10% risk of of hail exceeding 2 inch in diameter or larger into this region. So you're going to have some big time hail. Okay, if this bumps up to a 30% risk, you're going to get an enhanced risk, which I have a feeling we will, as confidence increases where exactly the worst weather could happen. So let's go on and continue to break down tomorrow. So waking up tomorrow morning, we'll take a broad look. And I'm taking a broad look because there's going to be a lot going on just as we're waking up tomorrow morning. We're going to have storms kind of riding the Oklahoma-Kansas line and maybe a little bit further north all the way to the Nebraska area of rain associated with the surface low up here. These will be non-severe storms up here, just more so just rain and some showery conditions. All right, we're going to have energy flying around Illinois. Could have some storms right in the Arkansas-Missouri border. This is waking up around 7 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Okay, we get all the way and we take it all the way to about 1 p.m. All right, not a whole lot going on in the high plains where you have that elevated slight risk right in here. But you got energy right in here. This is what we need to watch out for too. I really think that there's going to be more of a severe weather threat in Illinois, Indiana tomorrow than what the Storm Prediction Center is saying. I'm not saying the Storm Prediction Center does not see it. I know they see it. They're just waiting to pull the trigger on it. Could have some storms right here in Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. But as we get going in time, these are when the big storms right here and develop. We could have some storms right up here too in areas of Nebraska. So let's go on and zoom into each region. Okay, let's talk about the north central U.S. first. All right, just more so rain, but as we get going here in time, this is where our first tornado threat will be, right into here along this surface low, basically called a triple point. It's basically where your best lift is, your best kinematics, which is basically the turning with height, the wind shear, your best spin to the atmosphere, and then you get a belt of low-level moisture that flies all the way up to this area right in here. So, I mean, we take it all the way to about 2 to 3 p.m. We already got some big storms ongoing right here in eastern areas of South Dakota. Sioux Falls, watch out. And then this really develops in what I think is going to be a pretty significant line of storms. And this could make its way all the way into southwest areas of Minnesota. Also, as we get into the late afternoon, evening hours. And I think there's going to be some pretty powerful storms right into this region of extreme eastern South Dakota, western and southwest Minnesota, and then the northwest corner of Iowa, northeast corner, a lot of directional wording. We're flying off here very quickly, and then northeast and Nebraska. If you're in any of those regions, definitely watch out. This starts popping off as early as mid-afternoon tomorrow. Some storms fly through, ride that Interstate 90 corridor, town of Mitchell, Brookings, Sioux Falls, back down to Norfolk, Nebraska, Sioux City, Sioux Falls. You guys watch out. Into the Marshall region, Pipestone, Slayton, Canby regions of Minnesota. Watch out tomorrow afternoon, evening especially. And these storms could be quite severe. You definitely want to watch out in the, like I said, the northwest corner, Sioux Center, the northwest corner of Nebraska. These storms, tornado threat with this, I think could be a little bit higher. Okay, just because you're right near this surface low. And this continues, and we're getting all the way into the late overnight hours around midnight. Could get some very strong storms that take Highway 20, and go all the way to Des Moines, maybe the Ames region. Definitely watch some strong storms overnight for sure. So this is the threat in this region tomorrow. This entire area right here. Now, I want to note, we go back to the Storm Prediction Center. All right, there is a slight risk in this portion right here in Nebraska where you're not seeing hardly any weather. Okay, so I want to note this. You very well could get some strong to severe storms also all the way down here in central Nebraska too. It's just nothing's really showing up. Okay, so back here, maybe North Platte, Grand Island, Kearney, you guys could see some severe storms too. Just because this model isn't showing doesn't mean it's not going to happen. If we look at the updraft Felicity swath, it's not too excited about the tornado threat, which would be good, but it does show some highlighted color regions indicating some rotating updrafts. It really likes this area of kind of western and southwestern of Iowa, but I think this is more so what it's picking up on. No, this is picking up on what could happen into the overnight hours tomorrow night into this region. But you see these little areas scattered about, okay? So we do need to watch out for some rotating updrafts into this region. Okay, we take it down to Kansas, and we're going to include we're going to include extreme eastern areas of Colorado, all of Kansas, northern Oklahoma, and southern Nebraska into this also. We're probably going to wake up to some storms in Kansas tomorrow from anywhere from Dodge City all the way to Wichita. You guys could definitely wake up to some stormy conditions tomorrow, kind of riding just south of the 70 corridor. And as we're getting into tomorrow afternoon, you kind of enter a quiet period. But bang, here comes these storms that explode very quickly. I mean, if you're in, I would say Ray, Colorado, along Highway 50, Interstate 70, especially the closer you are getting to Kansas and Nebraska, you got to watch out for some significant weather. It's around 6 p.m. You got some big storms popping off around, the Garden City, Goodland area. These storms quickly get their act together. And it's just trying to figure out the storm mode with this. You could very well get some discrete storm modes with this. If you do, large hail will definitely be a significant risk here in western Kansas. Okay, you got some big storms showing up in the panhandle of Oklahoma too. You certainly need to watch out around the town of Liberal, Woodward, Oklahoma, Dodge City, all the way to Hutchinson as we get later in the evening. This is showing about where the storms will be around 8 p.m. tomorrow based off the HRR model. Basically the entire western areas of Kansas under the gun. This continues to drift into the to the central portion of the state. So this is really affecting the Wichita area, Great Bend, Salina. You guys are being highly impacted late evening, just before maybe an hour or two before the midnight time frame. Big time storms rolling through, and these are rumbling through. Is this going to be more organized than what it's showing? I would say the weather won't get too bad based off this run of the HRR model for like Kansas City until like late tomorrow night to the wee hours of the morning, based off the latest run of the HRR model. But you could get some strong to severe storms in extreme northern Oklahoma late tomorrow evening too. But I would say this really gets cranked up for Kansas, the western portion of the state, tomorrow evening, makes its way throughout the entire state of Kansas, and in southern sections of Nebraska, northern sections of Oklahoma throughout the overnight hours tomorrow night. This is going to bring with it a I would say the tornado threat is pretty low, but the damaging wind threat will be there. In fact, we look at the winds based off the latest HRR model. Look at these winds. You got 50 to 60 mile per hour winds embedded in these red colors right in here. And this kind of brown color you see here, this is the HRR model saying 50 to 60, 65 mile per hour winds. But you keep this rolling. I mean, look at this area down here in the panhandle of Oklahoma with these storms. 70 to 80 mile per hour winds are possible with this area of storms. And you keep this rolling. This is affecting the entire state of Kansas, even affecting northern Oklahoma, where the severe threat isn't as high based off the Storm Prediction Center. But man, these storms are blasting through Kansas. And I really think they could crank up and, look at eastern Colorado. This is around 6 p.m. blasting through some of these communities in extreme eastern areas of Colorado. So definitely some big winds with this. Tomorrow evening in the eastern Colorado and areas of Kansas as we're making our way deeper into the evening hours. Now, this is a tricky area, okay? Saturday morning, we're waking up to some kind of cluster of heavy rain, showers, and storms in Illinois. Might be Indiana, might be more so over Missouri. Could be storming along the Arkansas, Missouri state line, okay? But as we get into about midday, 2 p.m., I know this doesn't look very impressive on this run, but I'm telling you, you need to watch out for this cluster of rain or whatever it's going to be, showers and storms, leftover, what we call MCV, mesoscale convective vortex. Is basically an area of storms. It could be very small, very compact. This is what went through North Carolina a few weeks ago and caused that EF3 tornado on a very, very, very low risk tornado threat. And this could be another scenario. I'm not saying we're going to get a strong tornado, but I'm saying, if you're in the Bloomington area, Peoria, Champaign, Lafayette, Indiana, south of Chicago region, you want to watch out in this entire region tomorrow with these storms. And they could organize tomorrow about mid to late afternoon. And this entire region right in here, Lafayette, basically Interstate 74, Danville, Illinois. I'm telling you, just watch this entire region. And also into northwest Kentucky, too, because we could very well, if we get any storms that get going in this region, I mean, you want to watch out for a tornado threat, too. But this is going to be a sneaky area that we need to watch out for tomorrow. Okay? Just watch out in Illinois, Indiana. Definitely want to be careful with this. And then we could have a cluster of intense storms that get going in northern Arkansas tomorrow. Might happen. Might not. But definitely if you got any outdoor activities in the Ozarks, northern Arkansas, extreme southern Missouri, just watch out for storms tomorrow. But I'm telling you, this is a tricky area tomorrow. And I will tell you, though, as we get into tomorrow night, this is when we'll watch for more showers and storms to enter Missouri from the west, and we could be dealing with some late night storms again in areas of western and central Missouri for sure. But I can tell you the NAM. The NAM looks a little bit more worrisome for this area. This looks like a classic MCV. Like I said, mesoscale convective vortex. It's basically like a mesoscale convective system, MCS, but this has a little bit of a spin to it. It almost brings its own kinematics. It's kind of hard to explain, but I mean, check it out as we're waking up around 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, right over Illinois. But then as we are making our way into about mid to late afternoon, this thing is really getting its act together. Just south of Chicago, boom, I'm telling you, if you're along that, Interstate 57 that goes down to, I think meets 74 in Champaign, then goes over the Danville. Just watch out for this little entire region. The NAM, that's a worrisome look, especially this little tail whip here, moving out of Illinois into Indiana. You got to watch out for this region here. Then it gets into Lafayette. I know I keep saying watch out, but you do. Just this area right into here. Okay, model guidance, this area of storms could look totally different, but I would really, really, really just focus in on this area tomorrow. You really want to. In the NAM with the updraft Felicity swath, this is picking up on what's going to happen over the next couple hours. But I know this doesn't look super impressive, but you still see it here. Right into this region. You see these highlighted colors, the greens, the yellows, the oranges, the reds. That is where the NAM is trying to indicate rotating updrafts. And even with these storms right here where Illinois and Kentucky and Missouri meet, you got to watch out later tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow p.m. I'm telling you, tornado threat will be here tomorrow. I might be wrong. Let's hope I'm not, but I'm just watch out for tomorrow in that region. And then as we get into Sunday, you're going to have another severe weather threat, kind of these same areas I just mentioned. Okay, you got a slight risk for day 3, which is for our Sunday, August 6th. This goes all the way down to Nashville, Tennessee, all the way up till Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay, it does include sections of Michigan too. The probability of what's going to happen, all we see at this range is just a % chance. So in this case, just a 15% risk of severe weather within 25 miles in a given location. As we wake up tomorrow morning, we'll have this narrowed down a little bit more, and we'll just have more information. But it's the same kind of deal. We move into this, and we look at the winds at 500 millibars, which is a great indicator of what kind of flow aloft do we have in the atmosphere to support this lift for this. Looks like it's getting kind of dark outside. I wonder if we got some storms coming. But this is what we look at to really supports lift for a storm, shear for storms. And you see this little closed area right here? That is what's indicating our low pressure. And this is moving through, and this is going to bring the kinematics. And basically, you got this exit region right into here. So you got this 30, 40, 45 knot mid to upper level jet rolling through this region right here of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley. And this is going to support plenty of lift in the atmosphere and enough shear for thunderstorm development. It's just, does anything get going into this region? So we have that. You can check that off your box. This basically belt of kinematics supporting storms will basically continue to shift into the northeast into this entire time frame. But a broad look at this, okay, on what could happen. We'll start off Sunday morning on the H-R model. We can only go out to about 1 p.m. Sunday. And Sunday morning, we could be waking up to some clusters of storms in Missouri, Iowa, the Ohio Valley. It's going to be difficult to figure out. But then we take it all the way out to about 1 p.m. Sunday, which is far out as the latest long-range H-R model goes. You see clusters of storms developing as far south as the southern Alps. Storms developing in Illinois, storms developing in northeast Missouri, and you got little spotty storms here in Indiana and Ohio. So this is going to change a good bit, okay? We look at the NAM. If you hear some rumbling in the background, it's just somebody mowing their grass, probably my neighbor back there that has not mowed their grass since about early June. Not going to get into that, but we take it, we keep going. Sunday morning, we'll wake up. The NAM goes out a little bit further, and we'll take it all the way out. This is everywhere, right? This is all the way to about 6 p.m. We got storms back here in western Illinois, storms in Iowa, storms in Missouri, storms in western PA, storms in Ohio. We got them down here in the deep south, the southeast, upstate of South Carolina. It does show a more organized area of storms in Missouri. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is the short range model guidance, guys, is absolutely everywhere with this. It really is. I mean, basically where the epicenter of the slight risk is, which is right here, it doesn't show really any storm development. Okay, and it gets really active as we get into Sunday night along the Mississippi Valley down here. Okay, so this is just a time frame that we really gotta get more detailed on. And I know I got a lot of people who view from the Ohio Valley, Ohio. It's very difficult to figure it out for you folks. Just know that the ingredients is there for severe weather in this area of the country for Sunday. Okay, we'll get more detailed on this as we get into tomorrow, but I can tell you it's going to be difficult to figure out how much convective energy we have in the atmosphere. Cape, we got a ton down here, but we don't have as much kinematics. But if you can, what is it going to do in the morning convection? What kind of morning convection are we going to have over Indiana, Michigan, all the way up till southern Wisconsin? You know, this is basically the middle of the afternoon Sunday, and you have no cape to work with, and it's because basically you had morning convection roll through. But that doesn't mean that this is going to evolve like this. This is why we still got to continue to feed you guys information. But you definitely got a lot of fuel to the atmosphere in Missouri, fuel that builds in ahead of a cluster of storms in Ohio, and that is why you see storms in Missouri and then storms in eastern Ohio, western PA. So it makes sense where you get the storm development on the last panel I just showed you guys. I know that's not very helpful for Sunday, but I'm telling you, we got to get to around this time tomorrow before we really have a good idea what's going to happen for Sunday. But for Monday, there is a 15% risk of severe weather, basically a slight risk at day 4. This is for your Monday, August the 7th. And this includes areas of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So this same piece of upper energy will fly through this region, and this will promote an atmosphere for severe weather in the Northeast. And we know even less information for this. What we do know is this is Monday morning. You got the upper energy flying through here in the Midwest. This will continue. And as we get into Monday afternoon, all the ingredients will build ahead of this blue area. Okay, remember, it's not right over the blue area. Right over the blue area is stable air. Okay, cooler, drier, stable air with the associated cold front coming in. Ahead of this area, you got an atmosphere that's becoming unstable, very moist air building ahead of this region. Remember, moist air builds ahead of this. Okay, low coming down here, associated surface low. This is swinging in, and then moist air builds ahead of this. And as moist air builds, you have cape that builds into this region and a belt of kinematic energy, basically shear, that moves into the Northeast, providing lift for thunderstorms in this entire region as we're getting into Monday. So as we move forward here, what we do know ingredients wise, and that's really all we can look at, is we're waking up Monday morning and look at this, the winds at 500 millibars, which is what we really look for the mid to upper level jet rolling through this area. And as you can tell, I mean, you already got a 20 to 30, even at 40 knot mid-level jet rolling through this region. Okay, this is winds several thousand feet up in the air. Okay, so this exit region right into here, this is going to provide really the best lift for thunderstorms right into here. Probably your most severe weather right into here. But look at this. This is telling me right here that you're probably going to have a damaging wind threat as far southwest as West Virginia, down into Virginia, southern Ohio. All of this winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere are definitely kicking here. You're definitely going to have a pretty significant threat of severe weather into this region as this kind of mid-level jet flies over this region, enhancing the kinematics for Monday. As it does, you get this winds that surge out the south, and you have a ton of low-level moisture. Okay, this is dew points, not temperatures, dew points. And look at this. Okay, you got dew points that build into the low 70s, all the way into New York and portions of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So you got plenty of low-level moisture. So what does that mean? That you got cape that builds into this region. And look at this energy. Look at this cape. The mixed layer cape builds over 25 to 3,000 joules per kilogram into Ohio, West Virginia. A lot of fuel to the atmosphere also for you folks in the Delmarva, the Mid-Atlantic region. And even just cape, 1,500, 2,000 joules per kilogram is plenty enough fuel to the atmosphere. So we're definitely going to have a severe weather threat for this area of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast as we get into our Monday. Moving forward here, this is the energy we've been talking about, but watch over here. Okay, we get into our Tuesday. Look at this little piece of energy right here. Okay, this upper trough, upper level low swings through this region, and then this begins to dig in for our Tuesday and Wednesday. This is getting into Wednesday and next week. I know it's about 4 or 5 days out. But I think if this is really what evolves, you're going to have more severe weather into this region of the Midwest again next week. And then we could have some kind of severe weather event about a week from today, sometime next week for the eastern U.S. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. I know that's kind of everywhere. It's always tough to explain in a way where you guys can understand, but you're definitely going to have a belt of favorable lift in the atmosphere for tons of storms over that entire region I just mentioned. That's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. Have a great night.